Third one will be the boundary line adjustment for Thomas Welch and Kevin Sumner, Terrace Drive and Terrace Drive Extension. And number 4 will be the 4-lot subdivision for Thomas Reed, Hidden Valley Road. And then after that, we accept the minutes and old new business. So as soon as we're live, we'll start with the first.
You could probably, if they've looked at the minutes, you could do the minutes part of it
Okay.
too.
The board looked at the minutes.
Yes.
Could be okay. Any additions or subtractions?
No.
If not, I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second?
Who seconded?
Mike,
Mike? Okay. Can we do an all in favor or do you? wanna
yes, we can do it all.
All in favor?
I
Any opposed? Carried.
do you want to take care of the whole new business or? I know that,
I think I want to wait
okay.
on that.
Oh, we're good? Are we live? Okay. So we're recording.
I'm not going to do the recording. I'm going to do it off YouTube
Gotcha.
because I messed it up so bad the last time.
So who's representing Michael Bush, Kathleen Kennedy? Would you just step up to the mic, please? Have a seat. Karen, do you want to go over?
Sure. This is, the Michael Bush and Kathleen Kennedy own on this map that I provided to you, okay? Mr. Bush and Ms. Kennedy own this L-shaped one. They also own this one that's this little one right here. And then the Beaudettes own this one. What they are doing is taking the lower one, the biggest one that the Bushes and the Kennedys own, and doing a boundary line adjustment with the Beaudettes basically straight across here to make one lot here and one lot here. They're starting with 3 lots altogether that they own, and they're going to end up with 3 lots, but it's a boundary line adjustment. In your packet are the deeds, and there's a colored map that they provided. I believe this is what was submitted to APA because they've gotten their permit with APA already. This has been approved by APA because there were wetlands on there. They had to go through them. And then there is a small map. I made a copy of it, just one sheet, 8.5 by 11, that shows where that boundary line adjustment is. John, I have one large map.
I think it's the last pages of they actually show, yeah.
Large one. You want to work off that. Okay. Make sure I get that one back.
Basically, if the board looks at the last page, it's kind of with this big map, it was the same exact thing. And everything is. Oh,
This is in the residential rural zone. And after they get done, they meet the minimum size lots for that area.
So they're exempt from seeker
They're exempt from seeker,
and the APA permit is on file, so we don't have to worry about that.
right?
Does anyone have any questions about or is it Michael? Anybody have any questions for Michael?
Just have one question. Is the waterway there connected to any other body of water?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
This will result in 2 lots.
There's one.
Well, there are 3 to
No,
begin
three
with.
Three to
later.
begin.
Right.
Make it-
Make that bigger
Right.
and they'll still have two.
Right.
Yeah, they started with this one they own, but it has no part of this boundary line adjustment. What they're doing is just taking and making the line here, including it in with this lot and this one. It's just,
This is so.
They're all conforming.
yes.
Seems pretty cut and dry.
So since we covered the seeker and the permit, anybody make a motion about a public hearing?
Make a motion to waive the public hearing.
I'll second. Hold on.
We're waiting.
Hearing, okay. You want me to do a roll call vote?
Yes, please.
Josh,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Rosalba,
Yes.
Michael?
Yes, either way is fine. Yes.
Howard
Yes.
and Francis.
Yes.
Okay, passed.
Last issue is to approve the final plat. If nobody has any more questions, and we believe this is which,
Can you just confirm that there's no structures or anything adjacent, directly adjacent to this new boundary line that you're creating? Correct? It's not gonna bifurcate a fence or anything of that nature, okay? Yeah.
I'll make the motion to approve.
I'll second.
that was Tony and Mike.
Okay, do you want a roll call or do you want to just,
We have a roll call?
yep. John Krimsky,
Yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Mike Panich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
and Rosalba.
Yes.
Okay, carried.
You're all done. Thank you.
What you'll need to do next is get a Mylar copy of that map and a paper one. You have to give both to the county. You'll have to bring them to my office to have them signed and then take them to the county. And I would like one paper copy for me to keep in my office of the final one, okay? Okay. And then you have to record it at the county. Yep. Give me time to get situated here.
Okay.
Okay, you want me to start, John?
Yes,
Next
next
is-
would be site plan review, Janine Bailey.
They came into my office recently and, or Mr. Carlton did, and wanted to build a storage shed. So we talked about that and then he came back and said that what they really wanted to do was to build a very small ancillary building and then have a roadside retailing there. So I had to inform him that they need to go through a site plan review. And we worked on that, and in all of the process, I forgot to check at that time the use table, and they need, according to the use table, 5 acres of land. They have 4.43 acres. So this is kind of a Mary attorney question, not Mary attorney, the same question, but in the zoning ordinance, it says that the planning board can waive any of the requirements of the site plan. That doesn't mean they can waive the area, correct?
Correct, because that's the ZBA.
Right, so they do have to go for a zone, for a variance for that. So if you look at this, if you, she's already done a jurisdictional inquiry with the Adirondack Park that came today. I did not have enough time to make you copies, but it is non-jurisdictional to them. You can act on this and go through the site plan review if you want. And you could, and this is totally up to you, make a motion to, if you choose to approve it with the condition that they have to go through their variance. A variance is a minimum of a 2-month process, So it's not that they're going to be able to start doing anything until they've been through the zoning board, but you could make it a condition of your approval if you decide to approve it.
That's because they need 5 acres to have a farm stand?
Correct. I think it's one of the things I'm adding to my list to look at with the new zoning ordinance, because if someone on 1 acre can have a roadside stand, well, not 1/4 acre, because you're not allowed, well, yeah, why do you have to have 5 acres? So
It's all
one the
because of the
things on
zone
my
they're in,
list.
correct? It's because of the zone they're in.
It is because of the zone that they're in, but
And unfortunately, the planning board we can't change that part. We can go through the whole thing, approve it pending, but that's gonna have to be, like she said, a 2-month process if they approve it.
Next year, I just want to have
Okay.
this for next year.
All because of basically half an acre. So. Seeker says they're exempt. There's no county referral required. Has everybody reviewed the application? I mean, I think it's pretty straightforward what they want to do. Any questions for? Okay,
On the aerial photo, there's a little box with an X.
Yep.
Would that be the
Yes,
location?
that's about 70 feet from the road. that
Okay, 'cause
back.
it doesn't seem to be anywhere near the road, honestly.
It isn't, but there's like a little place, it's a little different. We removed that. That was storage trailer and stuff, that's gone.
Okay, that's.
So.
The white rectangle?
Yes, that's what the white thing was,
So you
and
can
then we've
really see it.
taken some brush and stuff out of there. So the house is exactly 85 feet from the road, and that's just gonna be like parallel across.
it looks like there's parking for cars if you have,
There's plenty, and then there's
Yeah.
a 130-foot driveway on the other side.
Okay.
Where is the, I'm just looking here and it's all dotted all the way across.
are you resident?
hold on.
Nothing.
Oh, right there.
You're absolutely right. I looked at the wrong one. I looked at writing stable. So you don't have to go for a variance. Thank you, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Thank you for checking that. Excellent. That's what I get for hurrying.
Not to stick up for you, but you kind of been alone the last month.
Well, it is what it is. I mean, I make mistakes too.
Yep. Well,
Good.
that's good news. Okay, any more? Any more discussions with the applicant?
I'm confused on the 5 acre that Tony just brought up, like the taxation and finance department form still says 4.43.
Yep.
So does that need to get updated or?
It's an existing non-conforming size lot, so that really doesn't come into play.
Yeah.
But Tony did check that, the dimension table, and it doesn't have any required dimension on that table for roadside retailing. If you go to roadside
Okay.
retailing on the dimension table, there's no required acreage on that.
Okay.
So I had made an error.
The one above it's writing table, that's 5 acres.
Yeah, that was what I was looking at, I think.
John did the same thing, Karen.
I was looking at well, as my eyes went across the writing table, it was 5
Okay.
acres, and right underneath it is,
I don't feel quite so bad then.
I just made it now. Okay. Any more discussion with the applicant?
Oh, thank you.
And does anybody feel we need to have a public hearing?
Doesn't seem necessary.
Make a motion to waive the public hearing.
I'll second.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get the John.
Yeah, I'll do a roll call. John Karimsky,
Yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher.
Yeah.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Michael Panich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale, Rose Albatore. Okay, that's carried.
And finally, the decision to approve, deny, or table it with or without any conditions.
I'll make the motion to approve.
Six. Francis.
Right.
Okay, John Karimsky,
Yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Mike Panich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Rose Albatore. Carried. So you're all set. What you have to do now is when you'll have to get the permit to build the shed. Okay, and then when you're ready to do the roadside retailing, you have to get a permit from the town clerk's office once a year. It's a $10 fee.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll work on the shed part first.
Okay.
All right.
And the permit is from you, and what do you need for that?
There was an application that I gave to you the day
Okay,
came
yep.
in the office.
Yep.
And I just, let me look here what you gave me in this. You already said it was 8. How high is it? 8 feet high is, I just need a drawing of what the shed is going to look like with the height. That's the thing that I'm concerned about, okay?
Yep, I have the whole thing right here.
Okay, so then, and you'll just come in the office, I'll be able to issue it. There's no fee for that size of the shed. And we'll get it taken care of, okay? I'm in Monday through Thursday, 8:30 to 1:30.
Okay, I'll see you tomorrow morning.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep,
Bye.
thanks. Let me know when you're settled.
yep.
Okay.
Boundary line. Okay. Here are the full-size maps.
Next, we have the boundary line adjustment application, Thomas Welch and Kevin Sumner, and are you representing them?
Down there.
They had come in front of us before with the, yeah. Yep.
It's not your bingo. No big deal.
This one is pretty, yeah. These two drawings tell it all.
So basically, we're gonna reconfigure this boundary line,
Right,
correct?
Mr. Welch was here a month ago or 2 months ago.
2 months ago.
Kicked me under the table if I say anything wrong, but got beat up pretty bad at the last meeting, so he decided to just make everything conforming. If you look at the colored insets, you'll see the current tax parcel configuration. The red lots are owned by Mr. Sumner. And there are 2 tax parcels that are owned by Mr. Sumner. And the green lots are owned by Mr. Welch. There are 2 lots that are owned by Mr. Welch. I believe all 4 lots are currently pre-existing non-conforming lots. Mr. Sumner would like to sell his residence on the river, which is the red lot's a 2-story wood frame residence. There's an encroachment on Mr. Welch's property, so to rectify that, they're gonna do, as part of the lot line adjustment is to, we're creating a lot line 10 feet off the structure to meet the town requirements. And then back to the colored portion, proposed tax parcel configuration. Basically, we're gonna maintain the red color and the green color. Mr. Sumner is gonna put his house into conformance so he can sell it. And that lot configuration in red will end up with a 25,100 square foot lot, and Mr. Welch will have 24,134. So we have 2 conforming lots now after consolidating the 4 lots into 2 lots.
Exempt from seeker and the EPA is not required. Okay. Any questions? Go ahead.
So Don, one question we had was where you're stepping out for the walkway.
Mhm.
Does the driveway go all the way to that concrete walkway where, how would that house enter the concrete walkway without going all the way out to the corner?
There's where the solid line is coming away from the structure. That's where they park, right in there.
There's parking from the driveway all the way over into the building. It's all gravel. Does that answer your question?
Does the driveway go all the way over into that slanted line right underneath the 109?
No.
What is that slanted line like by the 109?
Well,
That was one question we had last time.
There is a telephone pole laying there. That's what that line is. There's a telephone pole that is laying there that is going to be relocated up towards the solid line.
Onto the property line?
Yes, onto the
Okay.
property line.
So it's like a landscape
Landscaping.
feature
thing,
now.
yeah,
It'll be moved over so the driveway will not be.
Be next to the shed.
So the Sumner Properties parking area, the gravel, doesn't extend onto the your property?
It does presently,
Does present?
before the boundary line adjustment, because 4 inches of his house is on my property. So, yeah, presently it is on there. That's why we're doing the boundary
But
line adjustment.
Post adjustment is,
Post adjustment, it won't.
there's no improvement of their walkways.
So
on here.
my concern is the concrete walkway, how it extends through the line. Are those stairs at the end of the concrete walkway? What is that little jog? That's what my question is. How are they going to access those?
Flat, so you.
It
can
is
s-
flat. It's
so
all
you can
flat.
still get, when the driveway is moved over to the boundary line, you can still walk from the driveway onto the concrete. wall,
Yes.
essentially.
But that concrete pad is going to be on both pieces of property?
The concrete pad is gonna be all on his property.
Just-
Post,
The end of the
The
concrete.
adjust-
The end of the concrete pad,
Yeah.
that will be on both pieces of property?
no, it'll be on Sumner's property.
The way it's drawn, the line goes through
I
it.
think our small map shows it on your property. but I think the big-
No, I can, there,
What is that right
One
there?
that.
It's total.
What is that?
any of this will be.
You can come up and show them on that big map.
See what's happening, you see this right there. concrete
I
wall.
want to know
He's
what
gonna
this is
sub-
right
yeah,
here.
right,
Is it
so-
stairs
Yeah,
or is that
access,
part of the
yeah,
concrete pad? What is
That's all
that?
sheer
That's on
Yeah.
both pieces of the
That's,
property. That's what my question
But I'm
is.
trying
This
to
right
figure
here.
out where's
That's
the
just a
driveway.
meter. showing
Okay.
the
It's just
tension
And the
of
concrete
this line.
stops right there. What
Yes.
is this?
It's
Just
a
the
little-
lines coming to it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay,
the boundary was drawn right along the concrete,
okay.
so you have to, they're gonna move this over to to here, and this is all parking, and then you just have to, he'll have to do whatever he has to do to create them.
So that doesn't extend on both sides. That's what my
No, that
question.
is.
Yeah.
That's a.
It looks like it's stairs going down. That's why I was asking.
It's right, it's pointing at 10 feet to that boundary line, 10.27.
I'm trying to
This
figure out
point.
where they.
Okay, that was what I was trying to ask. If there were stairs.
Typically, yeah, that's what.
Where do you see parking on that new property? Where is this gonna be considered parking? Right now.
And
it's not
sheds and
parking.
everything are exactly as,
Here.
that was the other question we had, is the sheds weren't gonna be far enough away from the property lines.
That's why there's no-
Everything is.
For you don't see
Okay.
parking lot, it
There's no
doesn't say.
proposed construction.
And that's not what she was worried about, is that a steps, but it's not a step.
No,
And what is the reason for the green bumping up, way up? Is that to?
Just to create two conforming
Two conforming
lots.
lots.
do they meet the square? Yeah,
There's nothing really there.
It's an odd shape, but that's what you have to do to.
So that's what he's saying, that's on main. For that, right?
So there's those two carports that are shown. The 317.16 parcel
Exactly.
that's getting turned from red to green. Do those exist or are those,
Those are existing, yeah.
and they belong to Sumner, but he's gifting them to you?
Yes.
Okay.
For the extra.
I think they're just fabric structure.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just temporary fabric,
Temporary,
metal
like,
framed
fabric
things.
sheds.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're not a permanent structure.
Okay.
Give them my part.
John, do you see any reason to do a public? hearing?
It's nothing I know of. I mean, it's up to the board, whatever.
Make a motion to waive the public hearing.
There you go.
I'll second.
So that was. Josh.
got it.
and- Okay.
Do a
Be
ro-
loud for you, Karen.
Thank you. John Krimsky,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Michael Panich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Rose Albatore,
Yes.
carried.
Last item, unless anybody has any questions, we'll approve the final plat.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
John Krimsky,
Yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Michael Panich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Rose Albatore.
Yes.
And you're approved.
You guys are
Just
good.
need to get me
Thank
the
you.
Mylar and 2 paper copies, please, for me.
Let me know when you're ready, Karen.
I need one of those maps back, it doesn't matter. So, and I have 2 complete sets of large size maps. And I ended up with a portion one, I don't know what happened, but, so if you need them, this is the full set, you'll have to share between you, but you've got the 8.5, the 8.5 by, or the regular size in your packet, it's exactly the same thing.
You got,
There's more large size here.
Two different maps.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I ended up with 3 C1.1s and not, yeah,
Probably,
doesn't matter. They can, we'll make do.
labeling thing when we print it off.
so we have the review of a minor subdivision, applicant owner Tom Reed.
Good evening, Matt Huntington with Studio A here on behalf of the applicant, Tom Reed. You may remember here in the springtime with a considerably larger version of this. And it's been toned down now to just 4 total lots. The 3 that will be actual building lots proposed, they're on Hidden Valley Road, they'll have driveways servicing them. The larger portion right now is just to be determined, that was broken out. One of the lots was there, that was the lot A. So there'll be a boundary lot adjustment on that one. And then we created lots 1 and 2 up in Valley Road, they're all approximately 1.5 acres. And then the 4th lot or 3rd lot, depending on how you wanna describe it, is approximately 90.8 acres. We did go through the whole APA process prior to coming back to the town in an effort to kind of expedite things and make it move along relatively quickly. So we do have an APA permit. As part of that permit application, they do have to do a public notice that lasts for about a month. So that went on at the APA level, and now we're here permitted. So then I'll just leave it up to the board with any questions.
So the APA's public periods complete.
Yeah, please. So they have to put it out, and I think environmental news records or whatever it is, they put it out for a month or so for public comment. Then when that closes, they complete the review, and now we officially have an APA permit. What you have.
Were any comments received during the period?
All told, it's a pretty benign subdivision.
What was the reasoning for the change, relatively drastic change between spring's plan versus what we're seeing now end of summer?
I can let Tom weigh in. I think mainly it was financially as well. As well as
Yeah.
So I see on one of the maps, we have a limits of disturbance, meaning that the APA must have made that as part of their permit.
Yeah, I mean, it's approximate, it was just to show that we weren't getting into the territory that we needed a speedy permit from the DEC. As you know, the previous one, the roadway, I already made a full stormwater design for that, for the roadway. So the limits of disturbance are approximate, just to give an idea what would be needed, struck down with this.
Is the 0.951 acres, that's all 3 combined acreage for the disturbance? That's on C.
Oh, yeah,
0.3.
yeah, if you follow that red line, that's the perimeter of that red line.
That's just the cumulative number of all 3.
Correct.
Okay.
So on one of the maps, I'm looking at the asphalt surface, 50-foot wide public right of way, where I guess you kind of break down where the driveway is going to be in the houses. So obviously you have to give you the limit to disturb so you could put a driveway in, correct? And so that the house is off to the side, meaning the trees in the front will,
That was the goal, is to try to
Right.
fall for that.
okay.
And that non-disturbance then helps shield those houses from the road. That's part of what that,
Correct, that
okay.
So just correct me if I'm wrong, the 100% replacement areas adjacent to, and 2 out of the 3 houses for the absorption field, that's just, you know, if the first one fails 20 years down the line, that's where they would theoretically put the.
Yeah, I
the
mean,
next one.
it's something you have to show, really, 50% by the DOH, the DEC, and they require 100% replacement area. This could be allocated on the property that
Right.
is feasible. I mean, in reality, most of the time you can replace it in kind if they have it.
Right.
That's just part of the code.
Okay.
So it's feasible.
On your cover sheet, the attorney just caught that where you've marked type of subdivision requested, you have marked major.
Yeah,
4 lots or less is minor unless there's an easement or a right of way associated with any of the lots, but I think they're all off of Hidden Valley, correct? Even the one leftover one, you have access in from Hall Hill, if not Hidden Valley, correct?
Yeah.
All right, so there's no easements or right of ways associated with this at all. So we need to change that from major to minor on the application. On their subdivision application, it needs to go from major to minor.
So it's gonna be a minor for sure. Just
I
ask.
thought the major minor came from a conversation we had back. I thought once we looked at it as a minor for the APA, and I thought something triggered a major.
For us, a major is anything more than 4 lots, or if you have easements of right of way or whatever in the action. But
No, so it'd be a.
So.
so
yeah,
it's
I
a
think
minor,
The previous version was a major.
was a major,
Yeah.
correct? So
Does
are
the need
you,
For them to change that, does that mean that we can't approve anything tonight?
no, we
Just-
can just get their approval to change it, that major to a minor on the application.
So you can put 4.
That's good with you, Mr. Reed? Minor? Okay. And if you ever wanted to do any more lots, then I'll automatically go to major. Because it's anything over 4, which it's gonna be 4.
Minimum lot.
I don't know, that's property in the, yeah, on the other side of it. This is the, if you could drive in, these are somebody else's house.
So you have no way to access to that property from Hidden Valley Road anymore then?
Yeah, right here.
Yeah, we do.
No, you don't.
There's still frontage.
Where?
It's like about like 140 feet from west between the two properties.
That's why I said, is this piece of property all the way to here?
No, it goes right.
Here, okay. Yeah, the way they, that's why I was asking.
What's the new acreage of each of the 3 smaller?
About 1.5.
1.5 each?
That is, if you look on page C 1.10, in the right-hand corner of the bottom, right-hand lower corner, it gives the acreage of the lots.
They only need to be an acre, correct?
Correct.
You're right.
Part of this is in another zone, but the area where they're pulling these lots out is in the RE zone. And they meet what they need to meet there.
Right.
Did you find that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, thank you.
So Mary, I know we have to, you want to read the short environmental, please?
Nothing.
You're the best, thanks.
Okay. So name of action, Snow Green Valley subdivision, project location, Hidden Valley Road, Lake Luzerne. The proposed development includes the creation of a 4-lot subdivision. 3 of the 4 lots are proposed to be developed with a single-family residence, driveway, potable water well, and on-site absorption field. The remaining lot is not proposed to be developed at this time. Name of applicant, Thomas Reed, telephone, email, address. Does the proposed action involve the legislative adoption of a plan, local law, ordinance, administrative rule, or regulation? No. Does the proposed action require a permit, approval, or funding from any other agency? Yes, APA subdivision approval. Total acreage of the site of the proposed action, 95. Total acreage to be physically disturbed, 0.951. Total acreage owned or controlled by the applicant or project sponsor, 95 acres. Check all land uses that occur on or adjoining or near the proposed action. Rural and residential is checked. Is the proposed action a permitted use under the zoning regulations? Yes, and it's consistent with the adopted comprehensive plan. Is the proposed action consistent with the predominant character of the existing built or natural landscape? Yes. Is the site of the proposed action located in or does it adjoin a state-listed critical environmental area? No. Will the proposed action result in a substantial increase in traffic above present levels? No. Are public transportation services available at or near the site of the proposed action? No. Are any pedestrian accommodations or bicycle routes available on or near the site of the proposed action? No. Does the proposed action meet or exceed the state energy code requirements? They put NA. Will the proposed action connect to an existing public-private water supply? No. On-site potable water wells will be provided for each single-family residence. Will the proposed action connect to existing wastewater utilities? No. On-site absorption fields will be provided for each single-family residence. Does the project site contain or is it substantially contiguous to a building, archaeological site, or district which is listed on the National or State Register of Historic Places, or that has been determined by the Commissioner of the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation to be eligible for listing on the State Register of Historic Places? Yes. Is the project site or any portion of it located in or adjacent to an area designated as sensitive for archaeological sites on the New York State Historic Preservation Office Archaeological Site Inventory? Yes. Does any portion of the site of the proposed action or lands adjoining the proposed action contain wetlands or other water bodies regulated by a federal, state, or local agency? Yes. Would the proposed action physically alter or encroach into any existing wetland or water body? No. Identify the typical habitat types that occur on or are likely to be found on the project site. Wetland and forest are checked. Does the site of the proposed action contain any species of animal or associated habitats listed by the state or federal government as threatened or endangered? No. Is the project site located in the 100-year flood plan? No. Will the proposed action create stormwater discharge either from point or non-point sources? Yes. Will the stormwater discharge flow to adjacent properties? Yes. Will the stormwater discharge be directed to established conveyance systems? No. Does the proposed action include construction or other activities that would result in the impoundment of water or other liquids? No. Has the site of the proposed action or adjoining property been the location of an active or closed solid waste management facility? No. Has the site of the proposed action or an adjoining property been the subject of remediation for hazardous waste? No.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah.
Matt, can you provide any clarification to what the 12A and 12B yes responses were in terms of the historic stuff?
That, if you drop a pin anywhere in the Adirondacks, you come up with an adjacent site that
Right.
there's something historic nearby. There's nothing. on the
Nothing
property.
specific.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Nothing
I
on the
figured.
property. As part of that larger subdivision that we had here in the spring, we actually did a full archaeological study on the property for that.
Nothing directly was found.
There's no evidence.
Okay, and then one other question from 17A. In terms of generating the stormwater and will it flow onto adjacent properties? I assume that just
Yeah, I mean.
We're
that's
predicting
kind of
the
a
quantity is not
you know,
anything that-
It rains, water flows downhill. so
Right.
it's, you know.
but
yeah,
nothing
it's not-
substantial that would
yeah.
cause concern. Okay. That's all I've got.
On number 5, can we check forest? Because we checked it on number 14.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you, Tony.
On number 5, can we check forest? Because it was checked on number 14.
For that, does it need to be like an actual managed forest? As a land use versus just the character of the land?
Or on or adjoining or near. Land uses? No?
I I don't know if it matters one way or the other, but I read it as, habitat is just, a passive thing, but a land use is like they're managing as a managed forest, timber, that sort of operations versus it's just a passive woodland. I don't think that's a land use.
Your judgment.
But
You know better.
Mary, any insight or?
I don't think it matters either way.
Yeah.
So however you feel.
Just trying to be consistent.
We still have to do the impact assessment. Well, I thought you were finished.
Oh, sorry, no, I just wanted.
Okay.
I
Is-
just want to keep going if there were questions.
This actual property, is it residential or rural zone wise?
It's residential resort.
Residential or zone? Okay.
Are we all ready for the second part? Okay.
Yeah.
So if no one speaks up, I'm going to check no or small impact. The other option is moderate to large impact. Will the proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation? Will the proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of land? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community? Will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway? Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities? Will the proposed action impact existing public-private water supplies or public or private wastewater treatment utilities? Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources? Will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems? Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health? So based on the fact that every single answer was no or small impact, a motion should be made that the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts.
I make the motion that the proposed.
You don't have to
Well,
repeat it. Yeah.
Perfect.
Is that written in here?
Yep, it's right here. I'm gonna check.
Okay.
Seconds.
All right, so who made the motion? Mike
Like,
and Josh, you seconded it, right? Okay. John Krimsky,
yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Michael Penich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
and Rose Albatori. That takes care of that part of it.
And then I,
So you either need to decide whether or not the public hearing is necessary. I do just want to caution you, you cannot deny the application if you do not hold a public hearing.
Oh.
Don't hold a public hearing, you have to approve the application.
I make a motion that we have a public hearing.
Yeah, I would just remind you that the APA did have a public comment.
Subdivision, there was a lot of people at the time that opposed it. And I just don't want any blowback on the board, but I mean, obviously we don't have to, it's not.
Well, you
lawful.
made the motion to have a public hearing.
Right.
Does anyone want to second that motion? So if they don't second it, what happens? Okay. So no one second.
So I'll make a motion to waive the public hearing. We'll see how that
I'll
goes.
second that.
Hold on.
Okay. Okay, let's do a roll call vote on that. John Krimsky, No.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
No.
Michael Penich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Rose Albatori.
Yes.
So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 yeses, 2 nos. Motion was carried.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
last is to
They backed off.
approve the subdivision, deny it, or table it.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
I'll second.
Wait a minute.
I'll second.
Okay, let's do John Krimsky,
Yes.
Tony Springer,
Yes.
Josh Fisher,
Yes.
Howard Schaefer,
Yes.
Michael Penich,
Yes.
Francis Martindale,
Yes.
Rose Albatori.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you. John, what did you do for the ceiling?
What did I do? No, that was the guy before me.
Thank you, thank you.
So you'll need to get the, okay. Yeah, I want a copy for my office too.
Yeah.
You need two papers and one Mylar at least, okay? Either one is, but I only need one, whichever one you want to give me.
Got it. Thank you, Joel. Thank you.
Yep.
So we have old and new business, and I know Karen's got some,
Yeah, I just have something. Is everybody listening to this?
Karen got some old and new business.
I would like to,
You should have it with you guys.
my cutoff for the meetings are a week before the meeting at noon. I would like to change that to the Mondays before the meeting to give myself a couple more days to get things ready because there are some, I had like the morning of the cutoff day, I had one item for our agenda. By the end of that day, I had 5. And I cannot get it all ready in that little bit of time. So I would like a motion to make the cutoff on the Monday before the meeting. The Monday, it's basically 10 days before, but the Monday before
We can do
the
this.
the week of the meeting.
She went to the Monday before.
The prior Monday.
Right.
Correct.
Basically 9 days
9
before.
days.
Right, 9 days ahead, correct.
I would make that motion because I think all of us recognize Karen is probably doing the job of 3 people right now. And it's certainly understandable the workload that you have and the time frame that you have to put it in. So I would make that motion.
However you want to word it.
All right,
All third.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, carried. The only other thing I had, and I already talked about it before, is some of you were signed up for this training in Lake Placid. And you'll have to drive yourselves.
We can carpool.
Yeah,
Good car.
it is,
Doesn't the town pay for mileage anyway?
I don't know. I don't know. if
I
it's-
was told at one point that even when I had to go to that, when we had it down in Lake George, I think it was Lori that told me to save your mileage and eventually turn it in, that you
Okay.
can get your mileage.
I don't deal with that end of it, so I don't know.
One person.
Right.
Josh, I sent out emails
Yeah.
on it. Are you gonna be able to?
It's a 2-way sign.
No, it isn't, but I need you to sign up because you've got to get the training somewhere.
Let's go.
Sign it
up. Go there.
Hold on, let me check who needs it.
I did go to one, but I don't know if it was 2024.
I don't have you for any for this year.
Yes, I'm.
Yeah.
Everybody, you're the only one at this point, because Kyle was the other one. So you want me to sign you up? All right, I will send it in and pay for it on the town credit card. You should get a confirmation on your own email because I put your email in on the application, okay?
Have a date.
Yep.
September 26th, I think.
26th. Up in Lake Placid from,
Not the night of a meeting, right? After we had to rush back for it. Remember that last time we had to rush back?
I'm
like,
looking.
For a meeting.
Oh, that's because the driver.
Had a meeting, right.
Is it the 26th?
26th. What day of the week is that?
Thursday.
Thursday, it's not.
Oh, you'll be fine.
Well, last year my plan was to call in sick to work and then they needed me to cover for the supervisor, so that backfired really quick.
We're squished in the car.
Well, if you had come, I would have drove and I would have collected the money.
Yeah, we had 5 in that car.
That's all I have.
Tony was the middle one. She got the middle seat.
Anybody else old and new business? In that case, I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
You can disconnect us.
All in favor, yes.
Yes.